over his head and poured half the water over himself. Anansi poured the rest of the water over the hornet's nest. He shouted, "Hey, hornets, it's raining! Quick, quick, get inside my gourd. It will keep you dry." Hornets don't like to get wet, so they all flew into Anansi's gourd. Anansi quickly spun a web across the opening of the gourd. The hornets couldn't get out, no matter how much they buzzed. Bzz. He carried the god up to heaven and showed the sky god. What Inyame just said, "Where is the last one?" He wasn't laughing so much anymore. Anansi went down to earth again. He thought and thought and thought, but he couldn't come up with a plan. So he asked his wife, who had a very good idea. They found a long, thick branch and some strong vines. Then they went to the stream where the snake lived and began to argue. "The branch is longer." "No, it isn't." "The branch is longer." "No, it isn't." "The branch is longer." "No, it isn't." "Yes, it is." "No, it isn't." Soon, the snake came out and asked what the argument was. "I was arguing with my wife," said Anansi. "She says this stick is longer than you, but I don't agree." The snake exclaimed, "Of course I am longer than that stick. I am very long. I am a huge snake. Just put your stick next to me and measure." Anansi did that, and to keep the snake straight, Anansi tied him to the stick with the strong vine. After tying up the snake, Anansi took him to the sky god. Nyame had to admit that Anansi had paid his price. He went to his wooden box, opened the lid, and gave all the stories to Anansi. Anansi carried the stories triumphantly down to earth. He shared them with his wife and with all the other animals and people. Stories are for telling, not for keeping in wooden boxes. The end. And that's how stories came to be. Okay. With me in the studio is Uncle Zaza.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Uncle Zaza. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Believe me, I honestly do enjoy the story.
Okay.
Very, very much.
So what are your thoughts?
Yeah. If not because of this particular story, I wouldn't know how stories came to be.
Right.
Yes. And I'm thinking it's always good to share your stories. I'm also thinking it's always good to listen to people, because if an Amsterdam listened to his wife, he wouldn't be able to get the snake over, I guess. And then I believe people listening to us would definitely have loads of contributions for this particular story. Yes, like you also said, there are more stories lined up for all of you listening. This is one thing you should understand. I personally love this particular story. I don't know why.
I love it too.
Yes. Then again, before we proceed, I would also like every kid listening to have the numbers jotted down somewhere. Try as much as you can to write down those numbers that Auntie is going to be calling for you, so that you can call into the studio, so that your voice can be heard. Your classmates or your schoolmates as well can hear your voice as we proceed on the show.
Okay.
Yes.
My friends. So the numbers to call are 0808 312 8618. 0808 312 8618. Okay, I'm sure you got that. Or let me call it one more time. 0808 312 8618. You can call and join the conversation I'm having with Uncle Zaza.
Yes.
Regarding this story. Yeah, so I like the origin of things.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the origin of things because we're able to tell where something started from.
Okay.
It gives you an idea of where the thing is going.
Okay.
Or what it can evolve to. So this is a fun way to look at how stories came to be.
Yes.
And I'm sure the other cultures will probably have how stories came to be too.
Yes. Talking about the story, there's a part where I was wondering. I was saying, okay, Nyame had to admit that Anamsi had paid his price. So which means as kids, you can do well to pay your price by possibly studying your books, by reading good novels, by as well trying to listen to mommy and daddy whenever daddy tells you to do something, or whenever mommy tells you to do anything at all. Try as much as you can to listen to them. Now, when you do those things, it simply means, mommy, I want a new school bag, and mommy's gonna get you a new school bag. Daddy, I want a tab, and daddy's gonna get you a tab.
That's the fun way to look at it. Or
Yes.
Yeah, and I like that. Anansi encountered problems,
Okay.
and if you see in the story, you see where Anansi thought and thought and thought.
Thoughts. Yep.
He paid attention to his thoughts.
Okay.
He processed the problem and found the solution. So whenever then probably reach out to people like when Anansi was busy thinking all to himself.
Yes.
Until his wife realized, oh, what's going on? Why are you worried? And then she preferred a solution.
Yes, very true.
Yeah.
So which means possibly there are times that you might be caught up with a lot of things to do. You don't know how to do your homework. You think the ones your uncle taught you in school probably might be enough for you, and then when you get home you're confused. Go to mommy and ask mommy, please, can you do this homework for me? And then when mom is teaching you, try as much as you can to listen and ask the right questions every single time. Because if you listen to the story properly, you find out that asking questions was one of the things that helped Anansi. He asked questions how to solve this problem. And then at the end of the day, look at the result. And then the big prize was given to him.
Stories! And then he shared the stories.
Yes.
That's the part I love the most.
Yes.
He could have hoarded it.
Yes.
And said, no, I want it out myself. I don't want to share. I suffered.
In school, everything that happened to you every single time, I am guessing it's a story you should tell when you get home. So whatever happened to you in school, your mate, I can't say colleague now, your mates are trying to do some funny things to you at school. When you get home, share the story with your mom. And if it's something that is not good, mommy will help you out. If it's something that is good, daddy will probably clap hands for you. I'm just saying.
Why is it daddy clapping hands and mommy not clapping?
Okay, mommy, we clap hands for you. Okay. Yes. So
we have stories everywhere.
Of course,
There's stories. You can tell stories about the rain, about the sun, about anything. You can let your imagination go and just tell stories. So things happening around you can inspire you to tell stories.
Of course.
So everybody is essentially a storyteller, because if you want, and children are always telling stories. My
Very
God.
true.
They come to you and say, "Mommy, when I was coming, and now hit my hand, and now my finger is paining me." And then they bring the finger out. Then you kiss it and say sorry. Then they go back and tell their sister or their brother, "Mommy."
You that have smaller kids and you that are very small, sometimes your kids will tell you things you don't understand. You keep wondering, they are telling you something, and I'm asking.
Language. They're
Okay.
pointing.
Yeah.
Or a child comes to you and lifts their hands.
They
up,
want you to
and
carry.
you know they want to carry it. So even babies are telling stories.
Very true. Okay.
That's so wonderful.
So this Voice of the People 90.1 FM, and Auntie is here, has loads of stories for us, right, Auntie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Auntie, please, I want you to call the numbers again so that the kids can as well have this written down somewhere.
I will be. So 0808-312-8618. That's the number to call to have conversations when we're reading stories. We can talk about the stories. We can talk about things around us, about anything stories. So you can also join us live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja, so that you can watch and hear
Questions, you have the opportunity to tell a story, and we find your story very interesting on the show. Believe me, you win something from
Yay.
Auntie and Uncle Zaza. Yes, keep it locked here.
Okay, children, welcome back to After School with Mimi Werna, the Story Genie, where stories meet fun. So today we've read how stories came to be, a very fun story. And I'm here with Uncle Zaza,
Yes.
and he read the story along with me.
Yes.
And I want to see if Uncle Zaza was listening.
Was
So
I
I'm going
listening?
to ask him some questions now. Uncle Zaza,
Okay.
question number 1.
Okay.
What do you think okay, wait, let me ask my question properly.
Okay.
Okay. What are your thoughts about if we had a world without stories?
I'm not sure the world would be a better place without stories.
All right.
Yes, because the world itself is full up with stories.
Mm-hmm.
Those before us told us stories,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would also tell stories to people after us. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're
Okay, so I'm thinking the world cannot be without stories because there were people before us. So it's very important to always ask your parents to tell you stories. Yes, it is very, very important. Good stories, educative stories, history, yes, good stories. So I think it's very important to tell stories and then listen to good stories. Of course, the world would not be a better place without stories. I am very sure of that.
Okay, it will be boring. I personally
Boring.
I love stories. I love stories. I think for me, I think stories are like the lifeblood
Okay.
of the earth.
Okay.
Because that's how we're able to know our history, our
of course.
past. We're able to share our present, and then for our children who will come after,
Okay.
to know about their history and their culture and tradition, what makes them, their value system, and all of that comes
Yes.
from stories.
Very true.
Okay, so I have another question for Uncle Zaza.
Okay, I'm listening.
How do you think Anansi felt when Nyame laughed at him?
Yes. I now say don't feel fulfilled.
Okay. Why? Why do you say that? Why,
Yes,
why?
because Nyame laughed simply because it was like Nyame was mocking Anansi.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Mm.
And there's the way a child will feel when their mates mock them for not getting these answers right in school.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the simple way how Anansi felt, because I personally will feel the same way. And Anansi did not relent, because despite Anansi feeling that way, Anansi also went back to the earth and tried to make sure
He found
a solution to the problem. So as kids, whenever you're being down, or whenever you feel like you're not getting anything right in school, do not feel bad about it. Don't cry. Don't start lamenting. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to your books. Go back and study properly, and then you'll find out that at the end of the day, you will definitely get it right.
Just like Anansi.
Yes,
Okay,
very
I have
true.
my last question. Let me see. Which one should I ask? Let me look for a
Last
tough one.
questions.
A tough question to ask Uncle Zaza.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm here.
Okay. Okay. It's not tough, but let me just ask. Why do you think Anansi shared the stories with everyone? Why do you think he
Yes.
didn't hoard it?
Okay. Answer this one is very tough. But I am thinking that Anansi had to share the story with every single one of us, because we need to learn from the story. Because this particular story has a lot for us to learn from. One, for us to be persistent in whatever we want to do, for us to continue to try harder to achieve whatever we want. And this story Anansi told us is very, very important, because one more thing, at the end of the day, Anansi got the grand prize.
Okay.
Yeah, so as kids, if you do your homeworks very well, the teachers will mark you good.
Okay. So now I want to ask a tricky question.
Tricky.
Yes, the last question on this story before we go to another one.
Okay.
Now Anansi had to trick other animals to get what he wanted. Does that make him a good person or a bad person?
It only makes Anansi a smart person. I'm
Hmm.
not saying, yes, try to be smart at all times. It only makes Anansi a smart person. So sometimes there's some questions that you'll be asked in school that may not necessarily require you thinking too much. It might require you being smart.
Okay. Thinking
Yes,
outside the
outside
box.
the box.
Hmm.
Improvising if possible. Yes, so it might require you being very smart. So I'm thinking it doesn't make an Amsi a bad person. It only made an Amsi a smarter person than the other animals.
Oh, okay. Because the last that was the snake, right?
Yes,
And where he and his wife were arguing.
yes.
It's not.
It's about snake and how
They're
uh,
smart
they're smart
and
but
cunning.
very cunning. But and there've been other stories how other animals have been smarter than the snakes. So I think Anamsi is just fortunate to be one of the animals that are smarter than the snake in
was
that
smart
contest.
today, right?
Very, very smart.
Okay, we're going to read another story on Anansi and see whether
Another
Anansi is smart
story.
or not.
Okay,
Another
so
story.
which
Uncle
particular
Zaza,
story are we going to be looking
we're
at
going
today?
to and wisdom.
Wisdom. So just keep it locked on 96.1. In a short while, we'll come through with the story Anansi and wisdom.
Okay, welcome back, children, to After School with Mimi Werna, the Story Genie, on VOP
6.1 FM.
96.1 FM.
Yes.
Okay, so the story we'll be reading next, Uncle Zaza will read it for us. It's a story about Anansi. Still a story about Anansi. We're going to see another side to Anansi. So the story is titled Anansi and Wisdom. You can find the story on www.africanstorybook.org, or you can use the reader app, the ASB reader app. You can find that one on Play Store. Is it in Play
Yes.
Store or on Play Store?
On Play Store.
On Play Store.
Yeah.
It's African Storybook Reader app. Once you download it, you can access these stories. So if you like, you can run and get a book, get to your laptop or to your desktop.
Whatever.
Yeah,
and
and do this. So the story is titled Anansi and Wisdom. It's a Ghanaian folk tale and is illustrated by Wenham the Jaga. Uncle Zaza, over to you.
Okay, people. Yes. Anansi and wisdom. Long ago, people didn't know anything. They didn't know how to plant crops, or how to weave clothes, or how to make iron tools. The god Nyame, up in the sky, had all the wisdom of the world. He kept it safe in a clay pot. One day, Nyame decided that he would give the pot of wisdom to Anamsi. Every time Anamsi looked in the clay pot, he learned something new. It was so exciting. Greedy Anamsi thought, I'll keep the pot safe at the top of a tree. Then I can have it all to myself. He spun a long thread stomach. He began to see his young son had been standing at the bottom of the tree watching. He said, wouldn't it be easier to climb if you tied the pot to your back instead? Anamsi tried, tying the clay pot full of wisdom to his back, and it really was a lot easier. Supposed to be the more angry about this that he threw the clay pot down out of the tree. Yes.
Amazing, right? We've seen
Yes.
another version.
I'm
of
telling
Anansi.
you, Anamsi is just something else.
Now he wanted to hoard. He was
Because
not willing to share.
at all. Can somebody help me and flog Anamsi? Okay. So just in case you want to send a WhatsApp message to us right here, of course, yes, you can tell Daddy and Mommy to help you type something, or you want to share some stories with us. You can simply send your message, or yes, your message to 0808 312 8618. So I'm going to take it again, but this time slowly. 0808 312 8618. Yes. Over to you, Auntie.
Okay. Amy Werna, the story Genie.
Genie.
So, children, this was fun. So the first story was about how stories came to be. Now we see how wisdom came to be.
Yes,
because it was in a pot, right?
Yes, of
and
course.
Nyame, what was with Nyame hoarding things and not wanting to share?
No, I'm thinking I was Anamsi holding things. Inyame is the god.
No, yes, Nyame is the one with the things and not releasing.
Okay,
And Nancy goes to bother him and collects it.
Yes, okay. Another thing is, it was even better at the end that the whole that the pot fell from the tree, and then everyone
down,
now
actually.
yes, then everyone now have the wisdom. If not, it would have been difficult for every single one to be wise today.
Imagine that it's only Nancy that is wise.
It would have been difficult. Okay, so we're asking, what can you? Of course, you'd have listened to the story. I'm pretty sure there must be something you want to tell me about Nyame or Anamsi. So, like I said, you can send in your message, and I'll be here to read whatever you have to say.
Okay, children, welcome back to After School with Mimi Werna, the story Genie.
Yes. Mimi Winners, I really do enjoy myself listening and reading the stories to you. So as kids, when you're bored or you want to learn something new, do not forget to tell Daddy and Mommy to read you a story. And if you can read, please do read a story every single time before you go to bed. And when you have the time to learn new things, please do not hesitate to learn new things.
Okay, thank you. So, we are moving on to another segment of this show.
Okay.
The segment is Guess the African Country.
Okay.
Guess the African country.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 3 facts about an African country.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll give the children a moment to call.
Okay.
If they don't call in, then I will throw the question at you. Okay, so 3 facts about an African country, and I want you to tell me about that country, to guess what country that is.
Okay.
Number 1, it's the smallest country in mainland Africa. Number 2, it has music genres of Afrobeat, reggae, and mbalax. I wonder if you've heard of that before. Number 3, it's home to the famous Kunta Kinte Island, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I'll say the 3 facts again. Number 1 is the smallest country in mainland Africa.
Okay.
2, it has music genres of Afrobeat, reggae, and mbalax. Number 3, it's home to the famous Kunta Kinte Island, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Guess the country, children. You can call us on 0808-312-8618 and tell us what country you think this is. Don't Google it.
What will I win? What do I stand to win? Okay, please don't allow your parents to tell you the answers, because whoever that gets these questions right has stand a chance to win a big box of pizza. You're going to eat this with your brother, your sister, and possibly your mom. But
fastest finger, who is going to call?
But if when you call me or possibly send a message, you have just 60 seconds. I'll be allowing you, so I will be allowing you to use your phone. You have just 60 seconds to do that. Okay, so
Can I ask the question?
can you ask the question again, and then let them know the facts, the fun facts about the country again.
Okay. 1, the first fact is it's the smallest country in mainland Africa. 2, it has music genres of Afrobeat, reggae, and mbalax.
Okay.
Number 3, it's home to the famous Kunta Kinte Island, a UNESCO heritage site.
Kunta Kinte. This question is very hard. Can you tell us something else, please? Can't you put that to this question? Is very hard.
Okay,
it's so hard.
Let me give you a hint. They have a tribe that sounds. I don't know if I give you this hint, you will know the answer.
Okay, please. Is there options? Let me help them and choose an answer for them.
Let me give an option. Option number 1, Zambia. Option number 2, Namibia. Option number 3, Gambia.
Ding ding ding.
I'm succeeded in confusing you.
Ding,
All
ding.
the beer countries.
Ding.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. On behalf of all of you listening to me,
if he gives you a wrong answer,
yeah.
If he gives,
on behalf of all of you, please don't flog me. I'm going to go with Gambia. It's my final answer. Beat me, but don't publicly say I'm wrong.
You actually got it right. The Gambia.
Okay.
You actually
Okay. Okay.
You
So
actually got it right. Yay!
I think
Let's
I
clap for
deserve a
Uncle
bell.
Pa.
Ding ding.
Oh.
Yes. So I'm waiting for someone that will come and get my box of pizza right here. Of course, you know we actually do a lot right here. Just in case you want ice cream, yes, I got you. You want pizza, I got you right here. Of course, courtesy of Auntie. Can you tell them your name again?
Mimi Werna, the story
Yes.
Genie.
So every single time you win something here, Auntie Mimi will give you something big.
Either a book or pizza.
Yes, or a very chocolate cup of ice cream. Okay.
That's chocolate.
Chocolate. So just so you know, the Gambia is a West African country surrounded by Senegal. That is the smallest. I think it's called, you know what we call minute. Okay. It's the smallest country on the mainland of Africa with a population of just over 2 million. Do you know that before? 2 million, of which up to a tenth live abroad for work, which means you have just 2 million of people living there. It's the smallest country. Yes.
Like a state in Nigeria, right?
Is he up to? Yes, and every single person don't even live there, live abroad. Funny enough. That is one fun fact you should take home to mommy and daddy today. Auntie, do you want to tell us the other question?
No, we're done with this section. I just want to remind them that the stories we read today were from the African Storybook.
Okay.
And the African Storybook works to ensure that children have access to free storybooks in the languages of Africa. So not just in English, you can find them in other languages. So you can download the ASB Reader app so you can read more stories at home.
Okay.
And if you like writing, we've got you. You can write your own storybooks using the ASB Maker app.
Okay.
And then you can access the complete, the complete library, the e-library on the website.
Okay.
It's www.africanstorybook.org.
Okay.
So those are your options for you to read stories. So don't say I do not have a book or I have finished reading all my books and so I am bored. No, there are 4,000 storybooks on that website. So no excuses. It's holiday and they're short. You can finish them in minutes and have fun doing so.
Okay.
But before we leave, I have an African proverb for you.
Okay. Ding ding.
Ding.
Let's hear it.
And then when I come next week, you tell us the meaning before we start.
Okay.
So the African proverb says, a good story is like a good soup. It nourishes the soul.
A good
I'll say
story.
that again. A good story is like a good soup. It nourishes the soul.
It's like a mono soup. And it nourishes the soul.
So
Okay.
next week, just think about it from now to next week. And then you tell us the meaning at the show next week. Yeah.
Very true. Yes, this is Voice of the People 96.1 FM here, Uncle Zaza, and then we have
Mimi Werna, the story Genie.
Yeah, so please do well to join us next week, same time. But this time around, we're going to be coming your way with loads of packages. In fact, I want kids to win, and I want kids to be part of this year. So, Daddy, Mommy, please. What's this nice here? Please get your kids here and let them be part of this because of course they've had a marathon of teachers bombarding their brains with lots of maths, English and everything, but this time around I think they should hear some good stories. And then you, Daddy and Mommy, please do not, and I repeat, do not start